If you had to tell one story that summed up who you were as a person, who you are for sure as a person, tell that story.
When I wake up every morning, I try and be more efficient than I was yesterday, and I try and be less of a piece of shit than I was yesterday. So if I can get answers to those two questions, I come out a better person at the end of it.
You can't put people in buckets, right? We all are a culmination of our experiences in our past and stuff like that, but we all have a brain, which kind of makes it hard for us to put anyone in a bucket because everyone is vastly different.
Welcome to No Universal Answers to the Universe, a video podcast and interview series with Taylor Hall and Kenneth Givens. Tonight, our guest is Denzel Garrett. How are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
So we'll kick off by I guess sharing a little bit of how we know each other. So obviously I've known you, Denzel, since 6th grade. We were in first period together in 6th grade, Miss Varicella's class. Her name has since changed, so you don't have to blurt that out, Taylor. So it's been a long time. It's been a very long time. We went to middle school together, high school together, college roommates. We were roommates on the road when we were working at that first company we worked at out of school. And now you're in Atlanta, and kind of bring us up to speed about what you're doing right now.
Well, up here in Atlanta, I work for an engineering firm called Foresight Group, and I work with the telecom division. And basically, I'm the reason you have cell phone signal, if that makes sense.
Only if it's working, though, right?
Yeah, only if it's working.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with your cell phone signal. Don't. It's not my fault. But the big cell phone towers, you may or may not have noticed. Honestly, I've never noticed them until I started working with them. So now I see them everywhere. But those, anywhere from 100 feet to 500 feet, those towers that have antennas on them. That's what I do. Run analysis on them, make sure they don't fall down, hurt anybody, stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Sometimes I help out other departments, but not a lot lately.
So our first job out of school, I've talked about it a couple of times. We were on the road full time, working for a construction company, kind of self-performed GC. Did electrical, mechanical, plumbing, civil, kind of everything across the board. How do you feel your life has changed, and is it for the better or worse now that you're not having to travel as much?
I would say it's for the better. Working on the road and traveling and that whole experience kind of like made me realize certain things about myself. Like I've always kind of kept to myself, and besides you guys, I don't really need anybody else to like have a good time or make me happy or satisfied or whatever. So when I first went on the road and I was by myself, like I was perfectly fine. I was like, man, I'm out here, making money, whatever. And then I started to realize like, man, miss my family kind of sort of, get to hang out with my friends anymore. This traveling ain't for me. So I got a random call one day from Atlanta talking about the job, and they offered less money, but I wasn't necessarily happy on the road. So, I took that pay cut, came here, and I've been pretty good ever since. So,
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember because it's been a couple years now. I think we worked on the road together for at least a year, right? Something like that, just
yeah.
about. And then they split us up and sent us to different projects. How long did you leave after that?
When I went to, I can't remember the place. It was in South Carolina.
Anderson?
Nope. Started B.
Barnwell.
Barnwell, yes.
Yeah.
When I was in Barnwell, I'd probably say 5 or 6 months, maybe. I don't really remember how long it was. No, it had to be a while because when we were there, I don't think the building was there. Like when I first got there, the building
Okay.
wasn't even there. And they were pretty much almost done by the time I left. I mean,
Okay.
it takes a while for a closeout and all that stuff, a few more weeks and all that. So yeah, I'd say about 6 months before I left.
Okay. And I worked for almost another full year because
After I left.
yeah, I about to say because I went to Utah and then Green Bay after that. So, um,
Mhm.
so percentage wise, obviously don't share dollar values, but percentage wise, I personally took anywhere from a 25 to 35% pay cut probably to be in the position where I'm at, where I don't have to travel as much. And I did the same thing where you're talking about, like, missing family, and then I was getting married, and I wanted to spend time with my niece and nephew while I still had the opportunity. Um, so absolutely worth it. Don't regret it at all. Love what I do now.
Mhm.
What was that percentage pay cut for you?
I'd say like 15, 20.
15, 20? Yeah.
Mhm.
So so not only is it a 15 to 20% pay cut, and for me, what it was for me, you then also now have to start paying rent because when we were on the road, you didn't have to pay rent.
Bruh. Man, rent in Atlanta is not fun.
Yeah.
Some cities.
So
Now, do both of you guys think that that's industry standard? Do you have to sacrifice a fifth to a quarter of your pay to not be a traveling engineer?
well, it's not just engineering; it's construction in general, and I would say that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Um, my company that I currently work at has hired even like superintendents in that side of construction. And talking to those guys, they're all older. They want to settle down. They want to stop traveling, and every single one of them took a pay cut. It's vastly different because typically, if you're going to stay in one spot, think about being in one area. There's only so much room for growth, and there's only so many large projects going on at a single time. So if your company is not landing all of them, it's very hard to keep a big payroll. Whereas if I can travel wherever in this country that the work is taking place, there's endless projects out there that you can try and bid on and land. And if you are even landing 10 or 15% of the jobs you're going after, you're targeting all big jobs. So then you can carry those big payrolls.
Mhm.
Would you agree, Denzel?
I definitely agree.
So yeah, it's pretty drastic. We actually, or me and actually a guy from a competitor in Colombia. We're all on ABC, which is the Associated Builders of Colombia, I guess, or maybe it's Associated Builders in Construction or something like that. It's an organization we're in, and we were presenting to local high schoolers, and we talked about that. There were some kids who were asking questions about traveling versus not traveling, and even our competitor was saying the same thing. It's like, yeah, our guys that we have who travel make more money, and you just know that up front.
Hmm. So we were like pretty much like banking that per diem, and man,
Yeah.
my savings account looked nice when I moved out here. Now it's doesn't exist.
So that's what I was going to get into. Denzel was, um, do you think it was obviously enjoyed having that kind of money? At least I know I did. Um,
Of course.
would you say though that I don't want to say set us up for failure, but definitely set us up for a rude awakening when we settled back into I would say regular wage jobs?
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at first, because like I said, like we had that cushion,
Hmm.
I guess, when we first started, and now, like you said, we got to pay rent, all these bills and stuff now, and like that savings just slowly started going away. And I know for me personally, like I'm taking care of my fiance as well because she's still in law school, so there's no extra income there.
Hmm.
Um. So yeah, it is it's a rude awakening. Like I was, me and you, we've always been pretty good at everything we do. I mean, college, it's supposed to take us like 6 years to graduate. We did it in 4.
Yeah, could have done it
Um,
in 3.5.
yeah. Um, So I was expecting, like, when I got here, I'm like, okay, I took a pay cut. Um, I'll probably like move up pretty quick, you know, because I catch on easily and I get my stuff done. That was not the case at all. I mean, I did my part. Like, I felt like I grasped what I was supposed to be doing like pretty quickly, enough to get a raise, but that didn't happen. Like, I did get a raise and it was next to nothing basically. So let's say about a year and a half later, my company ended up getting bought out. And so the new company comes in, they're like, oh, you know, we're going to sit down, have a meeting, give you your offer letter, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking, oh man, this new company, they're bigger, you know, more money basically. So I get in there, sit down, we talk about it, blah, blah, blah. Boom, offer letter. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna open it right here. I'm gonna wait till, you know, I get home, get somewhere by myself or whatever. Goddamn, get home. And oh, can I cuss? Oops.
Yeah, we're already past that on iTunes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, I get home, open it up, and it's legit like the same amount that I'm making at that moment.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, this ain't gonna cut it. It actually got to a point to where I called Todd. I hit up Todd and was like, yo, y'all need me, you know, I'm looking to make some moves, maybe come back. And
by the way, for those who don't know, Todd is the guy who hired us at our old company.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have mentioned that.
No worries.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we was talking. It's like, yeah, we could definitely use you. Some. We still need people to teach our base and blah 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 blah. I'm like, all right, cool. And that conversation literally got like nowhere. It just like died. So instead of me like bugging them and looking like I'm begging,
Right.
I went to my current employer and was just like, all right, look, this is what happened. I was making this amount before I came here. I settled for that, thinking that I would, you know, be back to at least close to where I was by
Right.
now, and that's not happening. And like I'm not happy with this. Basically,
Right.
that's basically what I said. I'm not happy with this. So he understood that, and he was like, "Okay, here's what I can do for you. I can bump you up half now, half of like the difference."
Mm-hmm.
To where I want it to be. I can do half now, and then after 90 days, after we see what you can do and how you perform with us, then I can do the rest. And I was like, okay, I can work with that. Cool. 90 days later, on the dot, he called me in his office. It was like, hey, you're kicking ass. Here's the rest of that money.
Hey,
I was like, boom.
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Also, I if you don't know Denzel absolutely would have been the guy to have that calendar reminder on his calendar.
I mean, hey, I didn't know the exact day, but I knew it was coming close. I'm like, all right, man, where my money at?
Yeah.
Let's see. What's this reminder? November 30th. Get the rest of my money.
Secure the bag.
Let's have a bunch of the money bag emotes on my phone. Yeah.
So outside of work, so you're a gamer. Obviously, you have a Twitch account. We will we'll link to your Twitch below and YouTube, and you can go ahead and say it now for listeners who don't actually watch the YouTube video.
For all my future fans out there, you can hit me up at twitch.tv/DizzyG_. Don't forget the underscore. And if you like what you see, you can follow and subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, you can follow and subscribe for free. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So tell us kind of when that started and kind of what I guess made you want to do that.
So I've always been a gamer. Like, that's been me like my whole life.
Very hard to beat in video games, by the way, which is really frustrating sometimes.
It depends on the game sometimes. I'm nice in Tekken, like I can back that up. But everything else, it's just we'll see when we play. But the actual like Twitch thing started when I was actually in Prattville, when I was in Alabama. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly who or how I started actually watching Twitch. Like I've always had a Twitch account, but I never really watched it because it wasn't really a thing like that. And
Right.
I don't, for some reason, I realized in Alabama, like, hey, I play games all day, every day, anyways. I might as well like try to play and get my stuff out there because you can potentially have like a extra source of income from that.
Right.
I'm like, I love games. Like I do it even if it wasn't for income because I just like playing and having fun. But I didn't pursue that then because I was traveling. I didn't have, a set place to actually set stuff up. Like I wasn't going to carry around a doggone. Can I turn it? I wasn't going to carry that around, in my 2-seater car and everywhere I had to go and place, especially some of the places that we had to end up going, like in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi.
Yeah. Or in that one motel that we end up having to leave and go to a nicer hotel. Yeah.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
that definitely wouldn't have happened. But yeah, so I get here and I'm like, okay, I can actually do this now. I'm in my own place, settle down. I pay for my internet. I know the internet's gonna be good. I don't have to worry about that. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And like I had the money like to buy it all out at once, but when I got there to get it, the guy talked me into applying for a Best Buy credit card, and I got it. I was like, all right, cool. Just throw this on the card, throw that on the card, throw that on the card.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing like all out, boom. And yeah, that's where I'm at. It's paid off, by the way. So
Yeah.
good.
That have you had issues with that before? I personally have had, and it was when I actually made more money. So like over the last 2 years making less money, I've made much smarter like money decisions. When I was making a lot of money, I was like, yeah, man, get a credit card. It's 20% off if I get this credit card.
Exactly. That's how you got me.
And then swipe, and then you end up with like 8 credit cards, and you're like, man, why do I have so much credit card debt? I make so much money.
Well, no, I know for me, that's my one like card that I have at a store
Mm-hmm.
because my mom messed up my stuff back in the day. So I know I'm always conscious like, nah, I don't need to do that because I know it's not gonna be pretty. So
Right.
that's not gonna happen. But I think I make smart money decisions. Like I don't buy stuff knowing that I have bills to pay and all that stuff. I make sure all my stuff is taken care of before I'm like, oh, I can spare $150 here and go get this. And that's
Right.
what I'm trying to like get Gabby to realize. And for those of you that don't know, Gabby is my fiance, and she should be on here sometime soon.
Sometime soon. I was gonna wait for her to finish up the semester.
Yeah. Because she probably get on your podcast and freak out or something because law school is crazy. Anyways, yeah. So I'm trying to get her to realize that she walk in here and see something brand new in here. I'm like, babe, first of all the bills are taken care of.
Yeah.
And second of all, I got a really good deal on this. So I believe it's worth it.
Yeah. Tab used to get on me because she would come home and she'd open the door and there'd be like, whenever I get done opening my Amazon packages, I put all the boxes by the door so we could take them to the trash can. And at some point, because we live in a neighborhood that's my sister is the regional manager for, at some point Lila texted me. She's like, everything all right? I'm like, yeah, why? And she's like, Brittany called me and she said that you've gotten like a package every day for like 8 days in a row. and I'm like, it's all books, it's like $3.99, $5.99, $6.99 books,
Yeah.
We share an Amazon account, Denzel. I buy books all the time.
True. That is true. Yeah, I have to put, yeah, exactly. I want to buy something and then I see 10 things in the cart. It's like, dang, I got to move all these to purchase later. So before I put my stuff in the cart, buy my little 2 things, then I got to put all 10 of his things back in the cart.
Oh yeah. Cause I'll be sitting at work and I'm like, man, there's that new book series coming out. And Amazon is tricky because they know me, like I feel like they know me personally. They send me emails and like, check out these new book series, Kenneth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I should check out these new book series.
That's how I feel with Best Buy, man. They like email me and like every time I open the app, it's like things we think you might like. And then it'd be like I don't know, something for the computer and it'd be like half off, and I'd be like, man, I really don't need that, but it's like half off. Like,
Yeah.
that's a good deal. And
Yeah.
I can use my Best Buy rewards, man. Like, I can't do it. Can't do it.
It's crazy. Like it's a real problem, but like the marketing techniques they use today, they're so good.
Nah, man, it's scary.
Yeah, you don't even need a commercial. It's just like, okay, for instance, I had to buy new shoes for my coworker's wedding. That was last Saturday, and like nice dress shoes, which I've never bought before. So we're sitting in the office talking about nice dress shoes. Get on Instagram that night. All the ads were for nice dress shoes.
Yep.
And I'm just like, all right, this is too much, too much.
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. Because like one day I was getting ready to stream or whatever, and my audio was being weird, and it's because like I'm using this program. It's like a virtual audio mixer, and I'm like, it messes up every now and then. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Bump it. I'm just gonna get a mixer. I'm gonna get a real mixer, plug everything in physically, and I shouldn't have any more problems. And then later on, in bed, about to watch TV before I go to sleep or whatever, scrolling through Instagram, and boom, mixer ads. I'm like, that's something's going on here. Somebody's watching me.
It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But back to the credit card thing. Like, I noticed it's got to be something that more than like 50% of the population probably deal with it, and it's crazy because they don't ever like teach you about it in school, right? Mm-hmm. There's no money management class. There's no like balancing your checkbook, none of that stuff.
Well, it might be now because apparently KD just took his kids on a trip, or his kids went on a field trip to learn real world stuff, and apparently they learned how to balance a checkbook, and they got a budget, and they learned about paying rent and electrical bills and internet bills and all that stuff that you have to pay for. And I'm like, where was that? Where was that when we were in school?
It's about time, because that's what the biggest issue is like, I talked to the high schoolers last week, and we were going to talk to them about the fact that construction is a job that you can get into right out of school, and you don't have to go to college and get into debt. And we were just talking to them, and we're like, if you work full-time minimum wage, you make roughly $15,000 to $17,000 depending on where you're at in the country. Okay. And 90% of all U.S. cities, a single person on minimum wage cannot even afford the rent in a one-bedroom apartment. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like, they don't tell you things like that. And when people are talking about rent, they're talking about like cars, and you always hear the big dollar values, right? Like kids growing up talking about cars are like, oh man, that commercial, that Mustang was, $29,999, it's $30,000. But what they don't tell you is it's like, yeah, but your rent's going to be based off of your credit score. That's going to get your financing. And then your insurance is going to go up, right? And then when you like, all these other things are going to hit you, right? Like when you're talking about rent is just to rent the space. Well, then you got a power bill, then you got a water bill, you got internet. You have all these things that start to add up, and like nobody talks to kids about that. So we just had a quick discussion, and we're like just doing quick math on the board, and like the kids were like, I would have to work 2 full-time minimum wage jobs just to be broke.
Just to be broke. Just to pay the bills enough.
Yeah. To be broke. That's it. Yeah. Like literally like $75 in your pocket. Because then, Uncle Sam comes in and takes his 30 to 40% off the top, Yeah. So it's ridiculous. Taylor, have you experienced anything as far as like issues with credit cards or anything like that?
I've got the one credit card for Home Depot, so I can walk down the aisles and think of $300 DIY projects that I don't have the space for. So that's always fun.
There you go.
But no, my mom has always been super against credit of pretty much any kind, because her dad went out. And are you guys familiar with the piano's kind of larger cousin, the organ?
Yeah.
Yes.
My grandfather got an organ that was valued somewhere between $30,000 and $60,000. And the debt from that put them in a trailer park.
Wow.
So, like,
did he get to keep the organ?
They did, actually, because nobody would fucking take it away.
Oh my God.
It literally was in the trailer home when we sold it after he passed. No one would move it.
Sitting there balling with an organ. And
So yeah, credit has never been an option growing up. It was
Okay.
always heavily discouraged. And I've actually been trying to figure out for the first time as a 25-year-old, like how to shop for a credit card because it
Mhm.
was just never discussed before. That's something that I'm still kind of working through as an adult.
I could tell you from my experience. So, like, my family has always had credit card problems. So I didn't,
Same.
didn't learn from them, unfortunately. So I am crossing my fingers, knock on wood, because it shouldn't happen unless I lose my job. But I am striving to be the first person in my family not to have filed bankruptcy. So all my family's filed bankruptcy. I think my mom might have done it twice. I don't know. I have to ask. But yeah. So I personally have like a dozen credit cards now. Like all of them except for like 3 or 4 are paid off, and I've paid 2 of them off in the last 2 years since I changed jobs because I stopped using them. I have a credit card I use for my expenses when I travel, so I can put that on an expense report. And like Denzel said, I've been doing my best to put a chunk of change in savings every paycheck, and then put um, an extra chunk towards paying off my credit cards. Um, and if I don't have the cash to buy it, I don't buy it. Now things happening and stuff pops up, like if I have to replace my tires or something like that randomly, um, you know, that might have to go on a credit card for a month and I pay it off over my next 2 paychecks. But I would say, Taylor, start out small, right? My first credit card was a J.C. Penney's card that I got at Georgia Southern because I was buying dress pants for a presentation, and they were like 50% off if you apply for a credit card and get accepted. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, what scared the hell out of me was all I had was a camp job, which was during summer, and I think we made whatever, maybe $1,500 over a course of a summer, right?
Base was 230 a week, which came
So,
out to like $3 an hour.
so, so like $2,300 before taxes. Yeah. So you bring home like $1,500, right? So I told them, I think I told them $1,500 or $2,000 or something like that, and they approved me for like a $3,000 credit card. So they approved me.
Set up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why you have to be careful. Like, they literally approved me for a credit card for more money than I told them I made in a whole year. So like, crazy. But I got 50% off those nice pants. The presentation went great, and I paid off that card pretty easily because I was like, JCPenney's is a safe card for me to have. I'm wearing this jersey. It's probably like the 6th podcast in a row that I'm wearing this jersey. I obviously don't buy new clothes, and I obviously don't go shopping for clothes. So that was Tav's giving me a look right now. So JCPenney card was a safe card for me because like a college me was not buying anything from JCPenney's. What got me was the second card, Amazon, and it was all downhill from there.
Nope.
I ordered I was ordering stuff off Amazon when I was living on Randy and Ruben's couch, like practically homeless. I had 2 jobs, and I was like, man, I'm gonna live in this living room. This living room is gonna be nice. So I ordered me like a massage chair to put in the living room. Ordered me a big flat screen TV to put in the living room. Ordered me a surround sound to put in the living room. Yeah, it was just stupid stuff that I absolutely could not afford. I was living off of tips. I mean, it should not have been spending that much money. But yeah, I would say start out slow, with a safe card. Go when you're going to the store to buy something with cash, and they say you get a huge discount if you get a credit card. Start there and then pay it off that month, and then use that to build up your credit.
Cool. Yeah, trying to go up another 60 or so points since I've only got student loans. My credit score is way lower than I want it to be.
Yeah, and I found out when I went shopping for my car, I was like, my credit score is up in the 750 range, and like I'm gonna be able to get 0% financing. I have a $30,000 student loan sitting on my credit score that I've been paying on. Didn't matter. They said my credit score number was high, but my credit backing was low because the highest, I guess, form of debt that I had was my student loans, and that really doesn't count because it's supposed to be the highest form of loan that you can default on. So if people don't know this, a lot of people don't, you can't ever default on your student loans. So if you file bankruptcy, if you run away, you hide underneath a bridge for the rest of your life, you will always owe your student loans back to the government. You can't get out of it. Okay. Whereas like if you owe money to credit card company, you file bankruptcy, a lot of times you can get a lot of that wiped away. They will never wipe away your student loans. You cannot default on your student loans. So you have to have a high form of debt that is something that you can actually default on to prove, right? It's kind of like if your parents let you borrow money and you really don't have to pay them back, but you do because you want to, no one would ever hold it against you if you didn't. It's the same thing with like your student loans. Like it doesn't really prove that you're, I guess, handling your debt well, which I think is ridiculous, but that's how they look at it. So the way I built my credit up is, credit cards, and then when I bought my car, my credit dipped a little bit and started coming back up. Now, when we bought Tab's car a couple months ago, my credit score just went up. It didn't even dip. It just went up like 10 or 15 points. So that was pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, it's just starting small and then working your way up. But how, when we're talking about this, I guess, Denzel, you had a tricky time, I guess, financing your car, correct?
Yeah. Wait, which one?
Your first Camaro.
No, the first one actually went pretty smooth because the place that I got it from was a place that was like, low credit.
Okay.
Yeah, they was willing to work with me because they already knew my situation. I mean, I knew my situation, so that's what I intentionally searched for. I'm like, all right, I know what I got going on, but I need a car because I'm sitting there, I'm driving to Anderson, South Carolina every week. But when I leave work every day, I'm sitting here hoping that my car start.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I can't do this no more. I need a car. So literally one day at work, I'm sitting there. You know how my job there was. I go do my job for all of like 2 minutes, and then I'm free for the rest of the day until I got to go do that 2-minute job again. Like before lunch or something. But anyways, so I searched, low credit, whatever, car dealerships, and I found the car I want, which was a Camaro, and it was all the way in Columbia, South Carolina. So I was like, I need that. And I called before I went down there because I'm like, I'm not driving all the way there.
Right.
Without, making sure that I can get that. And I called, worked everything out with them before I got there, and boom, it worked. Like that went super smooth. Now my second car, that one was a little bit iffy because I had to trade my other one in. The over under on that, had to make sure they compensated for that. Yeah. So I wouldn't have to be paying the rest of that car off and then trying to pay for this car. So they worked with me on that. But then I had to do a down payment, which was a good chunk of my savings a little bit. But I mean, it worked out. And then I ended up refinancing. I got a lower payment now, and it just works.
So that's something that I've never done, and I've always been curious about. Like how do you go about refinancing, and how much, like, percentage wise, did your finance rate drop?
I don't remember exactly what my rate was. I don't know if it'll pull up on here. I ain't gonna worry about it. I don't remember what it was before. I know what my payment was. My payment was like 7 something, 710, something like that. But I refinanced with my bank, and they got me down to like six even.
Oh wow! Holy crap!
Yeah. But basically, they just take the rest of the money that you owe to your previous financier. They take that, send them the whole check for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they actually sent it to my house first, and I think my mom took it up to. Yeah, they're lucky I wasn't there because if I would have opened the mailbox and saw that check, I would have tried to find some way to put that in my bank account. But anyways,
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. You're
yeah,
sitting there
so
with
they,
like a $30,000 check. All
exactly.
right, guys, I'm running away.
I'm going. Where does that at? Oh, he's in Vegas.
Me and He-Man are out.
But yeah, man. So they basically just pay that whole thing off for you, refinance that whole thing, and like, hey, here's your deal. I'm like, all right, yeah, that helps. You took $100 and something off, my monthly
That's amazing.
payment.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
man, Navy Federal, they work wonders.
There you go. Okay, so I guess the process would be similar if you like, you hear about people refinancing their house and stuff like that, and like larger loans. That's something I've never done, but I've been interested in potentially finding out because one day it might make sense for me to, I guess, look into that. Um, Taylor, I want to ask you a question here real quick. Um, you have a car right now, correct?
Yeah, just brought one up.
You just brought one up, so it's the same car that you had before.
Yeah.
So you own that car.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you or have you been in the market for looking to buy a car or anything like that?
Yeah, since about this past June.
Okay. How's that process been?
It was good until I finally got narrowed down to what I wanted, because I'm not a fan of the whole like on the dealership with the salesman part of the shopping for a car.
Yeah.
So planning went fine, execution not as well. I ended up with the same car that I'd been driving.
Okay. So you just didn't go out and get one.
Yeah, no, it didn't line up, and then I realized that I had quit my job like 14 weeks in advance,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden finished my job, went out to buy a car, and they're like, "So, what's your proof of employment?"
Yeah.
And I hadn't had an offer letter from anybody yet in Boston, so I just kind of was window shopping at that point.
Okay. Yeah. So okay. So this gives us a good opportunity, and I'm glad we're doing it this episode, where we can share insight into things that people don't know a whole lot about. We talked about credit card debt. We talked about financing a little bit. So when you go to buy a car, they'll ask you for proof of your job, right? Obviously, they'll ask you for proof of insurance too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll ask you for a driver's license. I'm trying to think if they ask you for anything else. Your social security number, obviously, because they look up your credit. But there's multiple ways you can go about it. So, Denzel, you obviously went to a dealership that was primarily for low credit financing and stuff like that. So I'm assuming you let the car lot finance your first car.
Yes.
Okay. So when you made car payments, did you pay them directly or did you pay their lender, I guess?
Oh, yeah, it was whoever their lender was.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly who it was, but yeah.
So when I went to go buy a car, I did not want to deal with the dealership at all. So I went to my bank, which is Bank of America, beforehand. I sat down with my financial advisor, which by the way is free. I would recommend that for people to utilize it. Most even local banks have a financial advisor who will have a free meeting with you, a free consultation is what they call it, I guess. So I went in there, told them I wanted to buy a vehicle. I didn't know at that point in time what I wanted. And I told them I was looking at trucks originally. I was still with Denzel, I think, when I was looking for trucks. And I was like, they were like, how much do you want to get pre-approved for? And I was like, I don't know, let's say $72,000. And they were like, all right, tap, type, 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 type. All right, you're pre-approved. Here's your letter. And they handed me a letter and it said, approved for $72,000. And what they don't tell you is when you get pre-approved for a dollar value, you're actually technically pre-approved for up to 10% more than that to cover your tax, tag, and title, which is pretty neat. So that letter, it tells you if you want to finance for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and 7 years, which I didn't know was even a possibility. And they tell you what your monthly payments would be for each of those, I guess, number of years that you're going to finance. And that letter is as good as a paycheck, right? So when you go into a dealership, if you don't like dealing with the dealership, just like Taylor was saying, I just went in with Tab and I was like, I want that car. They're like, okay, do you want to test drive it? And I was like, no, I'm good. I want that car. And here's a piece of paper that says I'm financed for it. Let's sign the paperwork. And since it was my first time doing that, I made the mistake of them saying, well, let's see if we can match your financing. So I was like, sure. Then they spent like the next 2 hours trying to match my financing.
Yep.
Up until the point where I literally got up and I was like, look, I'm taking my wife to lunch. I'm probably not coming back. And before I hit the door, they were like, oh, Mr. Gibbons, we're ready for you to sign. Come on back. So I went on back and I signed everything. When we went to go buy Tab's car, Tab found the car she wanted online. She did not do the pre-approval, but I was definitely more experienced at that point in time. So we went in. We said, this is the car we want. Let's test drive it because it was used. Test drove it, parked it, went inside. The guy was like, all right, how we want to finance this? Tab's like, I'm putting this much down. And I was like, I told the guy, I looked him dead in the face. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I want to be out of here by 10. And he was like, all right. And I was like, don't care what we got to do. I want the paperwork. I want to look through it. I want to sign it. And I want to get out of here. And the guy was like, all right, do you have the money with you? And Tab's like, yep. He's like, I'll be right back. And essentially he came back over, grabbed us. We went over into this room, signed all the documents. We was in and out in like 30 minutes. And it was terrific. So I would just suggest knowing what car you want off the lot before you get there. And if you're window shopping, that's one thing. But if you're there to buy it, I would even suggest going there, window shopping, test drive things so that they're not too pushy. And if you find something you want, leave, come back the next day and restart all over and just say, I want this car. I want to sign it in the next 30 minutes. This is what I'm putting down. I'm already financed. Let me sign the paperwork. And then, because they're there to get commission anyway. So if you tell them that you're buying the car and you just want to buy it and you just want to get the hell out of there, it seems to work. My sister does the same thing. My sister actually got her last car delivered to her house. She didn't even go to the dealership. So I want to get there one day.
Yeah, man. I think like when I got my first car, the first one, I got down there because I had to leave work and then drive there. So I got there like maybe an hour before they were about to close.
Yeah.
And because I had talked to the dude already and like I knew what I wanted and we kind of talked numbers and stuff, all I had to do was bring my proof of income, bring my insurance, show my driver's license, went back somewhere, came back, paperwork, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was out of it. Well, actually, no, I test drove it first because it was used. And yeah, it was great. But yeah, and then they let me leave my car there, my Altima there, and take the other one back. And then Randy and Ruben they came up with me that weekend to get the car and then they get the Altima and drive that back. So I mean that worked out good. But the second time, man, we was there literally like all day.
Yep.
All freaking day. And then I had to go back when Gabby got her car.
Uh-oh.
We were there. Well, we weren't there all day, but we was there for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And that's just because we bought it out here in Atlanta at the biggest like Toyota dealership.
Oh,
so,
okay.
People running around everywhere and everybody's busy.
Yeah.
But because at that point we already knew what we wanted. We already talked to the dude. The manager's actually Gabby's sister's I don't know what to call them, her boot thing, or I don't know, something like that. But there's relations there, so we was getting a deal.
Yeah.
But just because they were so busy, it just took forever. But I definitely do, like you said, make sure you know what you want. Get there, be like, hey, I want this. I'm gonna buy it. Get me the hell out of here. Or you can do like your sister did. I don't know if she got it from Carvana, but Carvana literally, you go to the website. You pick a car that you want. It tells you the price. It tells you, there's a delivery fee. And I don't know what you do after that because obviously I've never bought a car on there. But they delivered. They'll deliver it to you.
Yeah, she bought it from a lot, but it happened to be the same lot that they bought their like last 3 vehicles from. So she just called up the same guy and was like, "You want an easy commission?" He's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You want to drive me my car?" He's like, "Sure."
Wow.
I mean, my sister Giselle.
Yeah.
She's if you met her, you would never think that we grew up in the same town. Not even the same house, like not even the same town. Probably not even the state of Georgia. But yeah, that's the trick. And don't ever let them talk you out of what you're trying to do. because they will. They're like, oh, you're already financed. Okay, well, we can absolutely beat that. We can beat that. You should, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and run it, and just give me the paperwork. And as soon as you if you convince them that you're gonna buy the car, all you have to do is convince them that you're willing to leave, and they have the paperwork ready. Like, they absolutely have the paperwork ready. So, they're just trying to make a little bit of extra money on the side. But
It's a setup.
yeah.
Now, both of you guys said I test drove the car because it was used. Do you guys not test drive new cars?
I've never bought a new car, so no.
Okay, so it's more circumstance. It just stood out that both of you guys said it the same way.
Yeah. So
well, go ahead.
I bought my Mustang new. It had 66 miles on it. So the reason I test drive used vehicles is because if there is something wrong with the car, you're typically, sometimes you're buying it as is. Sometimes you get an extended warranty. So it's always important that when you're buying a used car, find out what warranty is on the car. Luckily, tabs we bought from Honda, and Honda redoes their bumper-to-bumper warranty for a full year on all certified pre-owned cars. So essentially, if anything went wrong, I mean, if, besides normal wear and tear, so like if she gets a nail in her tire, they're not going to replace her tire. But if she hits a speed bump and her tailpipe falls off, they'll put the tailpipe back on. If there's a sensor that goes out, they're replacing the sensor. So, if the headlight goes out, they'll replace the headlight. It's bumper to bumper, besides normal wear and tear. So we asked about that, but you still want to test drive it. Just to make sure that there's no weird sounds, make sure there's no big issues, because you're still making an investment. And if something is wrong with the car then, and they're trying to hide it, typically it means that there's something worse wrong with it that they're actually able to hide from you. So I would just say used cars, you should always, use precaution. Now, I bought mine brand new. It had a 6-year bumper to bumper warranty. So I still have a full warranty on my car.
Yeah, so I definitely lied. My car now, it was new.
I was about to say, I thought it was.
I was like, why did I just say that? But I actually did test drive my car now, and that's because it's a stick, and I haven't driven a stick in a long time. So I was like, I didn't want to buy a car if I wasn't sure if I could, still drive it, or every stick is different. Every car is different. So I was like, yeah, I definitely need to test drive this, and it was very shaky at first. And the dealership that I got it from was off of Gordon Highway in Augusta. So you didn't have no choice but to drive on the highway.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it went good.
Yeah.
It went pretty good.
I would always suggest, even if it's brand new, with 60 miles on it, whatever, to test drive manuals, because those cars come into the dealership. Typically people at the dealership can take those cars home to as a trial period. So at the end of the day, sometimes they'll just take a car off the lot home. Not everyone can drive stick, and I would say 25% more people than can actually drive stick say they can drive stick. So then you got people who are fucking the clutch up, just driving it back and forth for 60 miles, Yeah. So
you don't know how many times I go places, and for some reason somebody has to take my car. Like when I go to the dealership to get it cleaned or whatever, all right, leave the keys, blah, blah, blah. And then, you hear it start up. Like, oh, man, this car sounds nice. Then they take off, and then it jerks, and then it cuts off. Like, come on, dude, get it together. Do I need to take it back? You messing up my transmission, bro.
Yeah.
So it's, like you said, 25% more people say they can drive stick and they can't.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember we had this girl, I won't say her name, Denzel knows who I'm talking about, that was in our high school class, got a brand new Mustang in high school, stick, and they had to replace her clutch within the first 2 months that she had that car, man. I was man. God, that's such a waste. You should have just bought her an automatic, man.
Also, man, she wouldn't let me drive it either. I asked her every day if I could drive it. She wouldn't let me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've had some good conversations today, obviously, about things that we have not had the opportunity to talk about in any of our other episodes. Just stuff that people don't talk about enough, and that you don't know about until you try, because again, most people don't talk about it enough. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like that I for one, I don't know how Denzel or Taylor, I don't know how you guys manage your quote unquote checkbook. I have an Excel spreadsheet that literally has all my bills in it, all the dates for a full year that my bills are due, and then all my paychecks, how much the paycheck is, how much the bills are, how much I have left over after each paycheck. And I mean, it helps me balance my whole life. But I would suggest that finding something that works for you and sticking with it.
Yeah, it's the same. This is spreadsheet you sent me.
Oh, you use the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I started setting it up and everything, and putting my information in there, and I kept up with it. I actually got it. I think it's on my work computer in my documents, but everything that happened to me that kind of fell off.
Right.
So I'll get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, that's something that we didn't talk about. I'm gonna ask Taylor about how he balances his checkbook first, and then I'm gonna ask you about that, Denzel.
All right.
So 3.5 weeks ago was the first time I've ever had a fixed salary job.
Okay.
And my hours per week have kind of always been in flux. So
Okay.
while I am kind of good at not spending money when I don't need to, I don't say I've ever put together a budget. I've put together budget proposals, but I've never followed a budget month to month.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's helped me a lot because I used to just spend stupid amounts of money because I was making a lot of money. I was just like, yeah, it'll work itself out. And then I was like, I need to get my stuff together. So I started an Excel spreadsheet back in 2017. It's the same spreadsheet. So like, it's still kind of sad. I scroll up to the top and I see how much money I used to make, and it makes me feel sad. But but yeah, so I mean, it definitely has helped me a lot. It's helped me pay off those 2 credit cards that I've paid off in the last couple of years, and working to get all the rest of them paid off too. So, I would definitely suggest it to all my listeners, all of our listeners, just find something that works for you, and then stick with it. So Denzel, you brought up a good point. So a few weeks ago, I mean, how many? It was over a month ago now. It's like 6 weeks.
2 months.
Oh, it's 8 weeks. Holy crap.
2 months ago.
2 months ago. You went in to have an appendectomy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So kind of walk us through that process and what happened. Also, walk us through how you knew you had appendicitis, because that scares the shit out of me, because I'm just like, how do I know? Like, how do I know I have appendicitis?
All right. Here we go. So, literally Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, to be honest, ever since we got back from Vegas, I felt like a little weird in my stomach, like something wasn't right, but it wasn't nothing that was, too much to distract me from my normal day-to-day routines. I just knew like, my stomach feels kind of iffy. I don't know what's going on. So, I mean, I didn't think too much of it, but yeah, Labor Day weekend, I started having sharp lower right pains in my abdominal area. And so I'm thinking it felt like I had like a stomach ache or something like that. I got some Pepto-Bismol, Pepsid, and like some other stuff just to kind of like ease my stomach. Like I was having like acid reflux.
Heartburn.
Something like that. Heartburn, there we go.
Yeah.
All that. And I'm like, something's wrong with my stomach. Like it has to be my stomach. Anyways, as the weekend goes on, it got like, it hurt more, but it was only in like certain spurts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a sharp pain for like a minute and then it'll go away. I'm like, all right, what is going on? Like I call my mom. She's like, you need to just go to the ER or go to the urgent care, see what's up. And I was like, man, I don't want to, because I'm going to go pay money just for them to tell me, oh, you have a muscle spasm or something dumb like that.
Right.
And then I end up paying like $150. So I kind of like put it off. And then it got to a point where I was like, all right, this is too constant. There's too much going, or it just keeps happening over and over. Something's wrong. So I went to the urgent care one night and they couldn't find my insurance. So she was like, insurance closed. We don't want to charge you, or insurance not closed. They're not answering the phone or whatever. So either we can try tomorrow or I mean, you can go back and get seen today, but we're gonna have to charge you. And I don't want to charge you knowing that you have insurance, but we just gotta, find it or whatever, what your benefits are. I was like, all right, cool. I'll come back tomorrow, whatever. I didn't go back to that one. I went back to one that was closer to me. And I go in there, she talks to me, and she's thinking that I'm just having just some random pain. She doesn't think it's appendicitis and all this other stuff. But she suggested that I go across the street to the ER to have it checked, because if it is, if it ruptures,
That's
then
bad.
we got some serious problems.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And then she was like, don't go right now because it's like 6:00 on Labor Day. There's going to be like 1,000 people in there. You don't want to go. I'm like, all right. She's like, yeah, just go at 4:00 in the morning. Nobody's going to be there. I was like, all right, might do that. So we ended up going across the street anyways, just to see. And I walked in, looked, and turned around and walked right back out. It's like, all right, yep, we're going to go at 4:00 in the morning. 4:00 in the morning, came around, walked in, wasn't a soul in there. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Walked up, told her what was going on. She gave me a wristband. They called me back like immediately. Took all my vitals and stuff. And then they got me in the room for the CT scan, like within an hour and a half of me getting there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. But then when the doctor came back, it wasn't so great. He was like, this is literally what he said. He walked in and said, you have mad appendicitis. I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, we have a doctor here that's like ready to go ahead and get that thing out. Like,
Wow.
like now. I was like, wow, okay.
Wait, it's 4:00 in the morning. That dude's just been sitting back there like, oh my God, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. This dude says, hey, he has a mild case of appendicitis. He's like, tell him it's mad. We're about to take this thing out.
He probably did. He's like, yeah, just tell him it's mad appendicitis. But yeah, so I called my mom. I was like, Ma, I'm about to have surgery. I have appendicitis. She said, I'm on my way. She got there before I went back to surgery.
That sounds like your mom. Yeah.
Yep, coming from Augusta,
Coming from Augusta.
to Atlanta. She got there before I got back for surgery.
Hour and 15. She got it. No problem.
Yes. So I go back there. They do what they had to do. And then I come back. I don't remember exactly when I woke up, but I got up. Everybody's in there. How are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm all right. It's just the incisions. They did a laparoscopic surgery, which means they didn't have to cut me open. They just made like 3 small incisions, put some kind of, I don't know what they put inside of me, and took it out. So the doctor came back. He was like, surgery went well. We found some kind of like growth or something on your appendix. So we're going to send it to the lab for testing. And while we were doing the procedure, we noticed that your intestines were not quite in the right places. I was like, what do you mean my intestines weren't in the right place?
Yeah.
He was like, well, you have intestinal malrotation, which is something that you're born with. They usually fix it while you're an infant, but for some reason they didn't catch mine.
Mm-hmm.
And he said while he was flipping me over, or like moving me somehow, he noticed that my intestines just like kind of like flopped over. And then when he moved me back, they like untwisted. And he said that if they twist and then they like twist again, see if I can. Oh no. What happened?
You cut the video off.
I'm back.
There you go.
All right. So here's my intestines. They like flip like that. And if they like flipped again,
yeah, then
they like made it like tighter. Yeah. That can be like life threatening. And I'm thinking, I've gone 27 years with this problem and I've been perfectly fine.
Right.
I'm not trying to get cut open and do all this extra stuff. But my mom and them were like, oh, it's like a blessing that they realize this, and it could be life threatening if something happens. And he said it twisted when he flipped you over. So we don't want that to happen. So we think you need to do this. But still in my mind, I'm like, I've been fine. I played sports. It's not like I've just been sitting around my whole life. I've played sports. I've been flipping and knocked over in basketball, landed on my head and all that stuff. And I've been fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, They was like, yeah, just you need to do it. So I was like, all right. I wasn't scared. I was like, man, they gonna put me to sleep anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went through with it. So I had that surgery, the appendectomy on the 2nd. Ended up having the intestinal surgery on the 5th, the 4th or 5th. So like a couple days later. When I woke up from that, obviously they had cut me open, so I was not trying to move like at all.
Yeah.
And I think they let me go home that Saturday. They wanted to make sure that I could drink, eat, and like go to the bathroom without any problems. And I think, no, it wasn't that Saturday. I had surgery that Thursday. They kept me all the way until the following week, and I went home that Saturday because I'm so confused right now. I was in there so long, like I don't remember when what happened. Either way, I spent my birthday there.
Yeah.
Everybody came up, had a little party, and then that following day I went home. Whatever day that was, my birthday was the 6th. So I went home on the 7th.
Yeah.
At that point, I was in there since Monday, so I was like, all right, I'm ready to go home. So they was like, can you go to the bathroom? I'm like, I did go to the bathroom like a little bit, but I don't think it was what they wanted. But I just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
So I went home that Saturday. My mom took me back to Augusta because she didn't want me to be by myself because Gabby had school and all that stuff. Took me back home to Augusta. I just wasn't feeling good. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't going to the bathroom. I had the hiccups for like 5 days. That was so annoying. I couldn't sleep. It was terrible. So my mom was like, all right, something's still wrong with you. I need to take you back. So I was at home from Saturday until Wednesday. She drove me back up to Atlanta, go to the doctor's office, and he's like just checking on me. He's like, all right, pressing on my stomach around my incisions and stuff. Does this hurt? Does this hurt? Does this hurt? I'm like, no. And he pressed the spot. I leaned up and just threw up everywhere.
Oh.
Everywhere. It was bad. He was like, okay. So once they got everything cleaned up, I'm sitting there apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry, this and that. Because it got like everywhere. We're like in this small ass room.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, something's still wrong. So they admit me back into the hospital. I go in there. And when I tell you this was the worst experience of my life, dude, they had me in the room. And he told me what he was about to do before he did it, or before they tried to do it. And I was like, okay. They started to put a tube down my nose, up my nose and down my throat into my stomach to pump my stomach out of everything that I had threw up, because there ended up being a blockage in my intestines and nothing was getting through. So all that stuff that I was trying to eat and drink was sitting in my stomach.
Which, by the way, if you ever like overdose on drugs or something like that, that's exactly how they pump your stomach.
Yeah.
It's the same way.
So they told me what they were about to do before they did it. And I was like, okay, cool. They started going up my nose. And once it like got to my throat, I started freaking out. I didn't realize what he had said. And then I realized what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
They had to like have 4 people like come grab me and try to hold me down. And like it got to a point in my throat, I just started throwing up everywhere.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so it was like, all right. So they had to like pull it back out and like completely reset, had to change clothes, all sorts of stuff, change the bedding, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
Everybody came back in, held me down. I was like, all right, here we go. And my mom says normally they like sedate you or something or give you something when they do this. And for whatever reason, they didn't for me.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, assholes. Anyway, so yeah, they did it this time. Going through, I'm still kind of freaking out, but I'm trying to like hold it back. I tried to throw up, but I don't think I had anything left to throw up. So that didn't happen. And they finished doing what they had to do. And then from there, I had to go have imaging and all this other tests done. And that's when they found out that I had a blockage still. Apparently, I healed too fast, and my scar tissue around my intestines had fused like with my intestines and caused it to like block up. Yeah. So they had to recut me open and go in there
Ouch.
and fix that. And the doctor said he had to have another doctor come in there to help him because it was just so much scarring or scar tissue or whatever
Yeah.
there apart. So they did that. And mind you, this whole time while all this is going on, I haven't eaten or drunk anything for like a week
Mm.
because all the stuff that I was trying to eat and drink, I mean,
Just
yeah, that
sitting
stuff,
there.
yeah, that stuff just sitting there. So it wasn't really getting to where it needed to get to.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I didn't eat or drink for a week. And after the surgery, they gave me the IV nutrients and
Yeah.
stuff. And I had like a really high heart rate and I couldn't really breathe on my own. So I had like an oxygen thing too
Yeah.
while I was in there. And once I got out, instead of going to the regular room like I did the first time, I had to go to ICU. And ICU is basically they're like round the clock, keeping an eye on you and checking on you and all this other stuff. You can't have visitors, or you can have up to like 3 visitors, I think, in like at the same time, but
Yeah.
they can't like stay the night or anything. They got to leave. And I was there for a week with the tube, with the oxygen. I got off the oxygen pretty quick. I think the first time I tried to walk after that surgery, I got up, made it to the door, and like took 3 steps out the door, and my heart rate just like went crazy, and so I had to like turn around, like go right back, get back
Mm.
into bed, and
So,
put the
so
oxygen back on.
were you just having like kidney issues from not having enough water,
At that point, no.
or? Okay.
So once I got out of ICU, they put me in the regular room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one night I was trying to sleep and I was having like lower back pains. I'm like, what is this? What's going on here? So I told my doctor the next morning, and he was like, oh, you probably have not appendicitis, pancreatitis.
Oh yeah.
Pancreatitis. And he's like, it could be from a number of things, but we think it's from the IV nutrients. Like you're getting too much of something in the IV that's affecting your pancreas. So I'm like, dang. So now I got to be in here even longer
Ouch.
to make sure that number goes down, because the liver enzymes or some number like that is supposed to be really low. And mine was in like, it got to a point where it was like the 3,000s.
Oh wow.
It's supposed to be like in the low hundreds.
Wow.
So that was a thing for a while. Once they got me off the nutrients and I started eating like liquids like soups and stuff, it gradually went down. But at the same time, because I wasn't eating or drinking, I was getting the IV, my gallbladder failed.
Mm.
So I had to go have tests done for that. I literally had to go lay in this room for an hour, and this like donut machine was like watching my gallbladder, and I had to drink this stuff to like light up my blood vessels or whatever to see if my gallbladder was having any activity. And I laid there for an hour and like nothing happened. So it's like, yeah, your gallbladder failed. So then I had to go have a procedure done to put a tube in my side to go into my gallbladder to drain that. They didn't put me to sleep for that one. They just gave me something. They gave me something. I didn't feel it, but I was awake.
They put a tube in you while you're awake.
Yes, but
Oh my God.
it was a form of sedation where I didn't go to sleep. I was up, but I didn't feel anything, and I kind of really don't remember a lot of it except for when he was stitching me up with the tube. That's like the last thing I remember from that.
Oof.
So yeah, and then I had to run around. Well, not run, but barely attempt to walk around the hospital with that tube and the drainage bag around, and I had to be careful with that while I was sleeping or attempting to sleep, because I didn't get any sleep that whole time. Between the nurses coming in and out every hour, them coming in and out to either prick my finger to check my blood pressure or give me heparin shots in my stomach to prevent blood clots.
Oh my gosh.
When I tell you that was the worst, because I hate needles.
Yeah.
I
It's a
absolutely
big
hate needles.
it's a big needle too, isn't it?
The heparin shot, no, the heparin
Okay.
shot wasn't. I mean, it's a long needle, but it's like
Yeah.
this is really skinny.
Yeah,
But
but it's long.
yeah,
Mm.
so after all that, I'm like, I need to get out of here because I'm about to lose it. I'm
Yeah.
really about to lose it. Like I've been in here for how many ever days,
I,
and
I felt really bad during that time period because like I think that's probably around the time period that we tried to FaceTime you,
Mhm.
and Gabby was like, "Yeah, guys, he's not up to it."
oh
Well,
yeah, social media,
right.
anything like that. I wasn't on it. I mean, I did get on like clear my notifications because I hate having notifications on my phone, but I didn't really talk to anybody,
Yeah.
none of that. And God bless her. I love my fiance because she was there every night, every single night, and so was my mom. My mom took off work
Yeah.
and was up here every single day.
Your mom. For those of people who don't know Miss Renita, like Denzel has a younger brother and a younger sister, but Denzel was the baby for what 14 years, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
high school,
yeah,
freshman year,
freshman
high
year.
school.
Yeah, that's when Lonnie was born. So, like, if you don't know, like, that's her baby. You know, Denzel fouled out of a basketball game in high school. Miss Renita
My
walked
parents did
through
too.
the other team's huddle and just pushed people out of the way. Walked through the huddle. She was just like, "You ain't gonna kick my baby off the court." It was, first of all, hilarious, but it's probably the story that sums Miss Renita up the best, in my opinion, as far as her relationship with Denzel. But um, continue. I'm glad your mom was there and that Gabby was there.
I don't think I could have made it without them. And then my real dad, he stays like right down the street from us. He was up here too every day, him and his wife. And then my brothers and them, they came occasionally, but it got to a point where I told them, I was like, man, y'all don't have to come up here. Like I appreciate you coming up here,
Yeah,
but I don't want y'all to be up here because I know y'all got better stuff to do than to sit here and see me just laying here in the hospital.
yeah.
You know, like I understand. Trust me, I understand.
So so
So
so during this time period, you typically weigh what, like 135,
I even like barely 130,
130? Okay. How much weight did you lose during this time?
20 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, for the people that know me, I'm skinny.
Yeah,
You know,
skinny AF, I would
yeah.
say. Yeah,
So for me to lose 20 pounds is freaking huge. Like
yeah,
I noticed it. I noticed it when I got home and like actually legitimately showered for the first time in months or a month. I
yeah.
was like, whoa, I didn't think I could look any skinnier, and boom. But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm starting to pick back up now because I'm eating more. But I mean, I'll get to that at the end.
yeah.
Where did I leave off?
So you're went through the gallbladder process. You're hooked up to that bag, not getting any sleep.
hmm Um, and for people that haven't been to the hospital before, it's not what you think. You would think the hospital is like the cleanest place and like keep you very
Nah,
clean. No, I didn't shower that whole time. Like hair, everything, just nothing for months or a month. It was crazy. Like I didn't like it. So anyways, after the gallbladder thing, my liver's enzyme numbers started going back down. Uh, I mean, my scar or my incision and stuff, they came in there and checked that every day. Oh, I completely missed this part. So when I went to ICU, they took a lot of blood sample. They took blood. They took blood from me like every day,
oh,
every single day.
oh my gosh.
Yes. I mean, I ain't talking about I'm talking about like 2 test tubes of blood every day
Oof.
and x-rays like every day. It was these 2 dudes, these 2 white dudes. They
Yeah.
came in my room at 3:00 in the morning every night while I was in ICU to get x-rays. And they were like the 2 like goofiest dudes. Like it's so funny to be coming in there. They'll pull the X-ray machine and they're like bumping it up, like oh shit, and then pull it in, and then they come in. Like I already knew the routine, so they come in. I go ahead and lift up. They do what they had to do, and that was it. He was like, all right, sir, you know, have a good night. And I was like, all right, man, see y'all tomorrow. But so while I was in ICU, when they took that first blood sample, no, they took the first blood sample while I was in the process of getting ready for that second intestinal surgery. The infectious disease doctor came into play, and he came in saying that I had fungus growing in one of my blood samples.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we're like, okay. He was like, it was just one of the two. So, you know, we're going to take more to make sure nothing else grows in the rest of them. So literally just that one test tube got contaminated, which I think is from when that first, or when I threw up while I was trying to put the nose down my tube, the tube down my nose.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know, maybe something was on my arm or something. And
Yeah.
I don't know. But so he came into play, and that's why they had to take blood like every single day.
Wow.
They knew that they were going to be doing that, so they had to put a PICC line in my arm instead of
Ooh.
just a regular IV. You know what a PICC line is?
I've had one. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll explain what that is at the end, because my fascination with it when I left was crazy. So they had to do that. I didn't know what it was. The lady came in. They literally like covered me. They put this blue tarp like over my whole body, even my face. And she's like, stick your arm out. And that was it. She like numbed my arm. And then that was it. I'm just sitting there, you know, she's talking and I'm just laying there. I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. She gets done. And then all of a sudden I just have this like
It's like a stent.
IV. Yeah, it's like an IV on steroids
Yeah.
in my arm. And then she stuck me in my tattoo.
Oh.
So it messed up the E and never, I don't even remember what it says. I ain't seen it in so long. Never a failure.
Yeah.
It messed up the E and never. It's not that bad, but it like, she poked it right through the hole in the E. So yeah. Anyways, but that was actually a good thing for me because they took so much blood. When they take the blood from that, I didn't feel anything, like nothing at all.
Right.
They take what they got to do, and that's it. And it helped for so much stuff. Like everybody was like, nurse come in, like, all right, we need to take blood for this, and so you come over to an IV over here. I'm like, nah. When you take blood from that one, it hurts. Use this. It's like, oh, you have a PICC line, cool.
Yeah.
And so it like helped them out too. But once I'm getting ready to get discharged, the infectious disease doctor comes in and says, you know, they had me on antibiotics like the whole time I was there too, because they wanted to make sure there wasn't nothing else growing in my blood. He wanted to make sure I take some pills while I was home for a couple of days in place of the antibiotics. My surgery doctor wanted me to come in to check my incisions and stuff after I left. And I think that's all I've had to do since I've been out. But before I left, they had to take the PICC line out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, is this gonna hurt? Because like when they take the IV out, I'm sitting there like kind of sort of freaking out because like I don't like needles, and it's not really a needle, but they're pulling it out, and I'm like, I don't like that. So I'm like, I don't know what this thing's gonna be. So I asked the lady when she came in, I was like, yo, is this gonna hurt? She was like, no, the most uncomfortable part is me taking this tape off your arm. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So I lay down in the bed, put my arm out for her to do what she got to do. She takes the tape off. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's a little uncomfortable, but that's all right. And then she starts to pull the PICC line out.
Yep.
She takes 2 pulls, and I wasn't going to look. I'm like, I'm not looking. So I'm looking to the side. She does 2 tugs, and then she goes for a 3rd tug. I'm like, okay, what the hell is she doing? What is she pulling out my arm? I turn over and look, and when I tell you it was a line like maybe that long in my arm, and I was like, that whole thing was in my arm. She was like, yeah, they had to go all the way to your heart.
Yep.
I was like, what?
Yep.
There was a line going all the way up my arm, around my shoulder, down to my heart.
Yeah.
That freaked me out a little bit. But at that point, I was so happy that I was going home. I didn't care. And I had to go home with the tube and the drain bag. So I still had to worry about carrying around that thing I had to like put it in my pants and like clip it on my side. So when I go out somewhere, it was a little awkward, but I didn't care. And yeah, I mean, at this point now, my stomach, it healed up pretty well. It's not as tight anymore. I'm walking like normal. I can jog a little bit. I still get a little tired every now and then. And I still have the tube. I don't have the drainage bag no more. They clamped it. So now I just have it kind of like bundled up right here and like taped down on my side. I have to call and see when I'm going back in for them to actually pull it out, which I'm kind of nervous about.
Why?
I don't know what it's going to be like when they pull it out.
That's true. That's true. Also, you've had some of the worst luck in the last 2 months that I've ever heard of.
Exactly.
You went in for an appendectomy.
And ended up in the hospital for a month.
Yeah.
Taylor?
Yeah, no, so I wanted to kind of do a twist on our normal exit question and say the day before your appendectomy, describe who you were in 3 words, and then contrast that with who you are today in 3 words. How did this whole series of endeavors transform you as a person?
Man, you only giving me 3 words?
We've given up to 6 before. Take all you need.
Yeah.
I'm curious what it did to you, like, mentally.
Whew. Yes. Okay, so before I answer that, while all these series of events were happening to me, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. While those series of events were happening, it got to a point to where after, like the 4th thing that was going wrong,
yeah,
I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna get out of here. Like, it just starts playing with your mind because, like, first of all, you're locked up in that, not locked up, but you're like in that room for a long time. You can't go outside. All you can do is like walk up and down the hallway, and that's it. And I'm not the kind of person just to be sit inside all day. Like, I need to go out, do something. And it did play with me mentally. Like, I didn't think I was getting out of there. I started like losing hope and just being like super down. And like, I don't think I was at that point when I didn't want to FaceTime with y'all, but it really got to the point where I really didn't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
Like, I mean, I talked to Gabby like a little bit and stuff, but I just wasn't having it. But then things start, picking up, and eventually I got out of it. But before the appendectomy, man, that's tough. That's real tough. Okay, I'm gonna try to start with after the appendectomy. I am definitely grateful. I have a better like perspective or like outlook on life in general, and I would say I'm definitely more compassionate and sympathetic towards people who go through this, who don't have a choice. People who are born with certain things that aren't exactly curable right now, or some kind of long-term effect. It's tough, man. It's real tough. Golly, before, I don't know, man. I just went with the flow before then. It was just day to day. I wouldn't necessarily say selfish, but if it didn't pertain to me, I didn't really care about it. But now it's like, I feel like it made me a better person, if that makes sense.
How is it manifested? Do you feel like you have a sense of purpose or a sense of kind of meaningfulness and more of a weight to your actions? How does it kind of show up for you?
It's definitely more of towards my actions now. I mean, like I said, I felt, like I said, if it didn't really pertain to me before this happened to me, if it didn't pertain to me, I didn't care about it. But now I'm trying to be better, as in seeing other perspectives when it comes to certain things, or actually hearing people out with stuff that doesn't pertain to me and actually, having an input and trying to be better with that. I definitely want to do something or help with like the children's hospital for, kids who they shouldn't be going through the things that they're going through. And actually my job sent me on a site visit. They had antennas on top of the children's hospital. So I had to go in there and, to see a kid walking around with the little cart with the IV bag hanging up and all that stuff, like I had to, that hit me right here. It really did. So I definitely want to try to do whatever I can to get involved with that. I know one of the streamers that I watch, he does a lot of charity for St. Jude. So I'm definitely going to pitch in on that. And hopefully one day if I get big enough, I'm going to do streams like that. That's charity streams for Children's Hospital of St. Jude's, or, whoever it is.
You gotta get with KD and Alex and them, because they said I think they were doing their first charity stream here in a couple of weeks or something like that.
Oh yeah, I tune in when they go live and stuff too. So
maybe y'all can tag team or something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
It'll definitely be an event for all of us.
Oh, it's a good transition and a perfect time to plug everything you've got. Where can people find you at?
Twitch, like I said, twitch.tv/DizzyG_. Twitter, same thing, DizzyG_. Instagram, somebody stole DizzyG_, so now it's DizzyG with 2 underscores. And
it's a super underscore.
Yeah, what I said, Twitter,
Instagram. You got Facebook?
I do got Facebook. You can just DizzyG Gaming or my regular Denzel Garrett on Facebook. I think that's it. That's all I really use.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to share about the past 2 months.
No
It is quite the adventure to go through, let alone tell about.
Yeah, man. But I feel like a better person because of it. Oh, and like I had mentioned earlier about me eating more, I have a bigger appetite now, and hopefully that means I can actually gain weight. Yeah. Then I'm gonna go try out for the Hawks.
No Universal Answers to the Universe is an interview series by Taylor Hall and Kenneth Gibbons, which releases on YouTube and all podcast platforms every Monday. If you have any questions or would be interested in being a guest on the show, please contact us at nouniversalanswers@gmail.com or via our Instagram page at no_universal_answers. Thank you for listening and have a great night.